Well, joining us now for more on this is Joseph Glauber, Senior Research Fellow at the International Food Policy Research Institute. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, Joseph. You know, we saw these meetings earlier on, particularly in St. Petersburg, a lot of pressure, particularly from African Union countries, to get this grain moving again. Those countries that need it most, how much of a blow is it that there's been no agreement today?
Well, I think they are getting grain. Unfortunately, the war itself has caused problems. Despite the agreement being in place, Africa imported a lot less wheat from Ukraine last year. Mainly, the countries that imported were on the east coast of Africa, East Africa. They were through the World Food Program. And I think Russian exports to sub-Saharan Africa were down as well last year. Although we have seen that pace pick up. The good news is Russia has a very big crop from last year. It looks like they're going to have another very good wheat crop, so that will help with export volumes.
So does that mean that the threat of Russia not cooperating with the grain deal has receded a little bit?
Well, I understand not having a grain deal. The biggest, the most immediate pain comes to the Ukraine producers, because that is a low-cost way to export grain, and to the degree that they are forced to use alternative routes, either through the Danube by exporting through the southern Ukraine through Romania, or overland through Poland, et cetera, all adds costs, and that unfortunately means much, much lower prices for Ukraine producers. As a result, their production is already down about 35–40% from 2021 levels. So I think that's where the main pain right now is being felt by not having an agreement.
Which makes it an effective punitive measure by Russia as far as Ukraine's economy is concerned, I suppose. The Ukrainians have tried to get a few ships out, haven't they? But their ports are being hit. I mean, you mentioned Poland there, going over land. We know it's expensive. Yeah. Is it viable or even feasible to take on or explore these other routes?
Well, it certainly isn't feasible to get the grain out through overland through Poland, because as you probably well know, that has itself caused tension with those countries. Ukraine has been looking and actively investing in improving infrastructure to export through the Danube River with their border with Romania, and that has increased exports out of that off the Danube have increased in recent years. But unfortunately, I think we're facing a case with the additional bombardments and other things that Russia has enacted over the last 6 weeks has made it very difficult.
So where we stand at the moment, we still accept that this is a huge amount of food that is supposed to supply the global economy and feed mouths around the planet. I mean, where are we in terms of impacting global food security at the moment?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think one is we do have a lot of grain in the world, which is the good news. The bad news is we aren't really rebuilding stocks, particularly for wheat. We have seen a little bit of rebuilding of maize stocks because of good crops in the U.S. and good crops in Brazil. But we just aren't rebuilding stocks. And although there are ample wheat in the world right now, and people are able to find wheat despite Ukraine production being down, looking forward, until Ukraine really comes back on the market, that's just a hole that we really need to fill every year, which really makes it difficult to build stocks so that we can weather droughts in other regions, which thankfully we haven't seen.
Indeed. Joseph Glauber, pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.